Hold on to your seats. It's the electrifying Justin Newton Show, featuring Motlow State head basketball coach Justin Newton himself. Buckle up, because now with the coach, here's Jay Harper.
Welcome back. Yeah, back we are. Yeah, you know this guy, Coach Justin Newton, head men's basketball coach, Motlow State. I'm Jay Harper, Game Time Sports Network, as we are firing up another edition here of the Justin Newton Show. Coach, you've had a game or two since the last time we got together. So, how are your guys feeling here? As we record this, we're about 2 weeks away from the tournament. I mean, do you feel like your momentum is there? How are you feeling here as the season, the regular conference season, starting to wind down a little?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're playing some good basketball. Like we have specifically, the guys have done a really good job on the defensive end of the floor. You know, in the second half for conference play, I think we're second in the league in field goal defensive points per game. You know, really holding some people down. And it's not like we're a walk it up team, and we play with pace. You know, so there's plenty of possessions to be had. And I think defense can definitely carry over, you know, into March. You know, we had one game slip away, but road games are hard, man. Road games are really hard to win. You got to find a way. But man, other than that, we've really, I think, you know, found our identity of what we're good at, and you know, that's really getting after people on the defensive end and having a whole lot of depth. You know, we don't have like we talked about last time, we don't have like a 17 a game guy. We've got a lot of guys that average double figures that, you know, it could be. I think we've had 8 different leading scorers at one point in this year.
Yeah.
Which is really what makes this team special, I think.
Yeah, that speaks volumes about the willingness and the ability of different players to come through and take the lead, if you will, during any given game. Now, you know, after every game, I know you sit there and you go over stats. I'm sure sit down with your players and, you know, the X's and O's and all that stuff. But is there anything that really jumps out at you at this juncture of the season that is something you really are trying to clean up, that you're really concentrating on cleaning up as you move along?
Yeah, we can't turn the ball over as much as we've had. You know, we're definitely not a, you know, stop, call a set every kind of team. You know, we teach space and pace and decisions and reads and things like that in the type of offense we have. So with that type of freedom, you have to have the discipline, you know, with your habits, and we're growing. We're getting better at that. Definitely been better in the second semester. Need that, and then, you know, just got to consistently make shots, like make shots from the outside, like our best games. You know, we've had a really good balance of, you know, post presence and paint, you know, paint to greats, and we've had some guys be able to help us, you know, from the outside, specifically Kanai, JB, and Xavier. And Xavier's been out the last 2 games, so we'll be glad to have him back this next game. And we need those guys and a few others to be able to make some perimeter jump shots, you know, to create space for us. And if we do that, I think we can beat anybody in the league.
Well, you certainly, as we discussed the last time we got together, I mean, you've got a young team, a lot of freshmen on the team, and you talk about the growth of these players. Those mistakes, those turnovers, do you see them as a just kind of freshman mistakes, or is it just basketball?
Yeah, I mean, you try and build habits. You know, we say 2 feet, 2 hands, 2 lanes. You know, like we want to play off of 2 feet, and you know, a lot of times the opposite of that would be jump. We call it leap to pass. Like we don't jump up in the air to try and make our decision mid-air. You know, if we're going in the air, we're going to score. You know, and we had a few of those last game. We talk about 2 lanes. You know, if you broke up the floor into 3 lanes, you know, we don't like throwing across 2 lanes, and sometimes that happens. And you know, and then sometimes, you know, poise against pressure, 2 feet, 2 hands, 2 lanes. You know, we want to have, you know, we talk about throwing strikes. You know, like we want to throw strikes. We don't want the shooter having to go over here, so we work on that. So honestly, it's just building habits that you work on daily. And being more and more and more disciplined at it, especially when you have a new team and a young team. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to skin a cat. There are other people that do teach, you know, this hand and teach 3 different finishing, footwork moves and things like that. We're just the way we are, and the more disciplined we are in that, the less mistakes we tend to make.
Do you? I'm sure it's a challenge and fun in a lot of ways to not only see the guys starting to progress as the season goes along, but when you are a new coach, as you are here at this institution, and you've got new players that you're being introduced to, do you see a look on their face at times when the season starts to where they don't know if they're buying into your system and all that, and then when you see the light go off where they're like, hey, and they are buying into what you're doing, that has to be kind of rewarding for you, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And these guys have done a good job. Just like you talk about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Tom Brady answered, "Man, I found out a long time ago. He's the coach, I'm the player." And we have a pretty good work relationship when we both just do our job. And I think when you go from when you come from high school to college, it's like getting married, in my opinion. You've been raised a certain way with your family. But when you get married, your wife may not have been raised that way, and you have to come up with your plan together as a team. That doesn't make how it was before wrong or us right. There's a bunch of different ways to teach principles and systems and strategies. So there's always going to be that. Well, we did this. When I was always
exactly.
taught this, and the sooner that we all get, and just the guys and film is the best way. Showing film to the guys, like, I'm not trying to prove you wrong. It's just we have to choose a way. We have to be married to that way, and we all have to do it together. And when you see guys all get on board with that, it is fun. It is cool to see the light bulb go off for them. So yeah,
obviously various coaches have different styles. I mean, are you a classroom instruction guy, or is everything out on the floor?
Oh, we do a lot of classroom sessions. So again, I think everybody's a different learner. Mm-hmm. You have some people that have to go out there and you have to walk them through it. There's a lot of people that have to learn through watching themselves or others, and there's some you have to sit down and write, down. And we do all those things. We have notebooks that they all keep, where we do scouting reports and our own playbooks and our culture stuff. We do in the classroom, exercises like that. We do film here in the classroom, and it's interactive. Like, what do you see right here, guys? And then we take what we do in here in the classroom on film, and then we go jump out on the floor. And it's collaborative out there too. I set the mission and the vision, but they're constantly giving coach, have you thought about this, or do we do it this way, or asking questions. So yeah, I think you got to be a little bit of all. I don't think you can just be, for me anyway, just one way, because there's 20 human beings in this locker room, and they all learn different ways. So a really great teacher isn't, I teach this way and that's it. A really great teacher, I believe, is getting to know each student and what's going to make them the most successful. And I don't think basketball is any different.
As a coach, you're thought of, and you are, you're the leader of the program. Mm-hmm. But I'm guessing there are many times when the players, the students, are teaching you things.
Oh, absolutely. I learn from them every year. And it's a corny phrase, but, great teams are player-led, not coach-led. That doesn't mean that they're calling plays and they're making substitutions and all that. It just means they're invested in the vision that you've set, and they take it to another level that you could never take it to. Like, this is what I envision for our team, but, man, they are more apt to respond to their peers. And then just, the things that I've learned from players the most are just their stories and their resilience, man. I mean, there's some guys that have had some really tough situations, and they come in and they bring it every day, and I'm going, man, that guy's a lot tougher than I was at 18. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I learn every day from those guys, and I hope they learn as much from me as I do from them. But yeah, it's a team, right? Like, there's always a leader, there's always a person that's setting the vision, but it's a team, it's collaborative, So yeah, I learn a lot from those guys every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. And as you say, you're bringing a group of young men together from all of these different backgrounds. Many of them from nice, stable homes, but sadly, some of them have come from, as you say, some very difficult and unfortunate situations. So I'm sure that for some guys, this becomes their home in a way, and maybe it's the first real family, in a sense, that they've actually ever been a part of. I mean, and I know, to me, I've been with a lot of coaches over the years. The really, truly successful ones really take that kind of stuff to heart and understand a young man's situation, or a young woman situation, and it does play a part in why you coach. I mean, it's to help, not necessarily get to the NBA, even though I'm sure a lot of these guys would love to be that way, but let's face it, the odds of that happening are not the greatest. So just helping them get to another level in life. So many of the things that they learn here on the floor and in the classroom go on to apply to their everyday lives.
Yeah, and not to make self-importance or anything, but, coaches have more influence on, about 5 times more influence than your average person does. The average person influences about 2,000 people in their lifetime. A coach or a CEO or a leader or something like that is about 10,000 people. So, we definitely don't take lightly the opportunity for, what and the responsibility we have. Those are, got 20 guys on my team. Those are 20 people's sons. And I have kids now, and I don't necessarily believe this is true, but I did hear a coach say, I think you should have to be a dad before you become a head coach. And I don't agree necessarily with that, but I get the premise because ever since I've had kids, it definitely has changed my perspective on how I view each and every one of the guys. And we talk about engagement. We want to, engage the heart, and we want to, and we want to equip them with what to do, and then we want to empower them to go do it on their own. The 3 E's. So. That's a cool part, and that's the purpose of coaching. We're trying to win games, and we're trying to, beat the next team and learn. But man, the purpose is when they leave here, are they better men? Do they take those tools and become great husbands and great coaches and great leaders and all that stuff? So.
I'm sure, every coach will pretty well tell me and tell everybody, I'm sure, that it is so rewarding when a past player will reach out to you and thank you. Or maybe it could have been a player that maybe you kind of you didn't see eye to eye at the time.
Absolutely.
But they come back around and say, man, you were right. Thanks for pushing me, or whatever the case may be. I'm sure you have stories like that.
Oh yeah, and I was very fortunate to be at Reinhardt for 6 years, and my favorite moments, it's not even close, are when you have that big game and then you've got like 10 to 15 of your former guys just show up, and we were very lucky and blessed that happened quite often there. And we have a group text with a lot of them that played for us at Andrew or Monticello or whatever it is, and we hope to do that here. That, man, everybody that goes through this program has an investment, and they want to leave it better than what they found it, and they want to be involved. Like your best programs, the Kansases, the Dukes, and the Tennessees, they definitely have that brotherhood, camaraderie, of wanting they want to come back. That's not something they think negatively about. They miss it at the best time of my life. I want to go back.
Yeah, well, a lot of young coaches. I mean, heck, maybe you start your coaching career right out of college. Shoot, you're not much older than some of the guys you coach. When you're starting out. So I'm sure that maybe some of those fellas you've kept in touch with over the years really you're kind of about the same age.
Oh yeah, no. When I first got into coaching. I guess I was like 22, and some of the guys that were on those first couple teams, I mean, I'm great friends with now and a couple of them ended up being assistant coaches of mine, now head coaches. Colin Cotter is one that comes to mind, head coach at Thomas University. He played for us at South Georgia under Corey, and we just became great friends outside of there, Jameson Williams. Similar. So that is the cool part, where you're in a leadership role, they're becoming a man, and you're more of a peer with them now, and it's really neat. Yeah.
Can you kind of tell from the players, for example, just hypothetically, looking at your roster now, do you have some guys that you just kind of instinctively say, they're going to be a coach one day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
you know, can you kind of see those kinds of guys?
Yeah, and sometimes it's not your best players, quite frankly.
Sure.
You know, it's just you can see that knack for, man, if they wanted to get into it, you know, they would be that kind of, they have that leadership style, they have that basketball IQ, they have that passion for wanting to do it. There's also sometimes you go, man, that guy was nothing but a problem. I'm not going to name a guy, but there's a guy that he was only ever problems for me for 3 years. And, man, he is a head high school coach and doing a fantastic job, you know, now. And those are really cool stories, too. So, you know, it's all about growth and you know, being from here, you know, where do I end up? So, yeah, those are cool. But definitely, you definitely see some, and I see some on our team now that I go, man, that guy would be great if he decides to get in the business.
Right. Well, Coach, again, you know, it has been great sitting down with you here these last couple of occasions. You know, we talked last time we got together. You know, you got the tournament coming up, but still, you know, you can't look too far ahead here. You still got a number of conference games left as we record this here. You've got 2 real tough road games coming up. You've got Chattanooga State as well as Walters State, and both of those are those are formidable opponents.
Yeah, no, they're top of the league, and for good reason. You know, Coach Price over at Chat does a great job. He just got inducted into the TCCAA Hall of Fame, I believe it was, and he's got a really good team. It's gonna be tough to go over there and win. They really, really shoot the ball. And they're really talented and they play hard. Yeah, and then obviously Walters is one of the best teams in the country, and we're the only ones that have given them a loss. So I have no doubt that they'll be ready and fired up, ready to go, and hopefully we will be too. You know, it's a good league. Every night's a war. People always say, man, what league is the toughest? In the league you're in.
Exactly.
You know, whatever league you're in, league games are hard to win. Road league games are rare to win, and the teams that end up being really special are those ones that figure out a way to steal some on the road and take care of business at home, which is what both of those programs have done. You know, we're going to end up finishing 4 or 5 on the road, so we'll get tested here right down the stretch, which is good. We need to be battle tested going into March.
Well, as we wrap things up here, you know, they say that a lot of professional athletes will say that they perform better on the road in some ways because they're not concerned. Well, maybe that's not the right word. They're not distracted, perhaps, by a lot of things going on at home.
Yeah.
Do you find that can be the case with players this age when they're on the road?
Sometimes,
to some degree.
You know, sometimes, and you know, more specifically if you're like local or something and you've got parents and, you know, parents mean well. And, you know, my wife, she screams a lot of stuff too, you know, like, and they all mean well because they love you and all that stuff. But that is another layer of like, you're not going to not hear your mom in the stands or dad or whatever.
That's the truth.
And so sometimes you're on the road, you know, you're free of that distraction. There's plenty of other ones, you know, like a different gym or, you know, a referee that you'll never see the rest of the season or whatever it is. So they both bring their challenges, and it's, you know, different strokes for different folks, man. Sometimes people play better on the road. You know, we seem to play better at home, and we've had some big road dubs. But if you're going to be good, you know, at any, you have to find a way to win on the road for sure.
Right. Well, we certainly wish you well in that regard. As again, we wrap things up. We've been chatting with the head men's basketball coach, Motlow State, that, of course, Justin Newton. This is the Justin Newton Show. As we close things out, thanks for joining us. I'm Jay Harper, Game Time Sports Network.
That's a wrap, folks. What a ride. This has been the Justin Newton Show on the Game Time Sports Network with Jay Harper. Catch your breath, then join us next time for an explosive episode.